occurred. The sister of a young peasant on his estate, only a mile away, was very ill, had been, as she described it, attacked very nearly in the same way, and was now slowly but steadily sinking.
All this, said my father, is strictly referable to natural causes. These poor people infect one another with their superstitions, and so repeat in imagination the images of terror that have infested their neighbors.
But that very circumstance frightens one horribly, said Carmilla.
How so?
Inquired my father. I am so afraid of fancying I see such things. I think that it would be as bad as reality.
We are in God's hands. Nothing can happen without his permission. And all will end well for those who love him. He is our faithful creator. He has made us all and will take care of us.
Creator, nature, said the young lady in answer to my gentle father. And this disease that invades the country is natural. Nature. All things proceed from nature, don't they? All things in the heaven, in the earth, and under the earth act and live as nature ordains. I think so.
The doctor said he would come here today, said my father after a silence. I want to know what he thinks about it, and what he thinks we had better do.
Doctors never did me any good, said Carmilla. Then have you been ill? I asked. More ill than ever you were, she answered. Long ago. Yes, a long time. I suffered from this very illness, but I forgot all but my pain and weakness, and they were not so bad as are suffered in other diseases. You were very young then. I dare say, let us talk no more of it. You would not wound a friend. She looked languidly in my eyes, and passed her arm round my waist lovingly, and led me out of the room. My father was busy over some papers near the window. Why does your papa like to frighten us? Said the pretty girl with a sigh and a shudder. He doesn't, my dear Camilla. It is the furthest thing from his mind. Are you afraid, dearest? I should be very much if I fancied there was any real danger of my being attacked as those poor people were. You are afraid to die? Yes, everyone is. But to die as lovers may, to die together so that they may live together. Girls are caterpillars while they live in the world, to be finally butterflies when the summer comes. But in the meantime, there are grubs and larvae, don't you see? Each with their peculiar propensities, necessities, and structure. So says Monsieur Buffon in his big book in the next room. Later in the day, the doctor came and was closeted with Papa Later in the day, the doctor came and was closeted with Papa. Later in the day, the doctor came and was closeted with Papa for some time. He was a skillful man of 60 and upwards. He wore powder and shaved his pale face as smooth as a pumpkin. He and Papa emerged from the room together, and I heard Papa laugh and say as they came out,
Well, I do wonder at a wise man like you. What do you say to hippogriffs and dragons?
The doctor was smiling and made answer, shaking his head.
Nevertheless, life and death are mysterious states, and we know little of the resources of either.
And so they walked on, and I heard nothing more, and I did not then know what the doctor had been broaching, but I think I guess it now. So unlike last night, we are going to read one more chapter. Thank you for those follows while I was reading, by the way. Checking in, how are y'all doing? What do you think? This chapter is only a few pages long. About 5 pages. I may actually read 2 tonight. 7:25. I'm only gonna read one. I'm gonna keep it to 2 total. I'm glad. Oh, I'm glad. Oh, y'all are the best. Y'all are the best. Chapter 5. A Wonderful Likeness. Actually, before we start on that, let me get some water. Hi, Sarah. This is Carmilla by, I can never remember his name, Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Le Fanu? It's like the original modern vampire story. Now, obviously, vampire stories come from other places. They come from the Ulster-Goy myths. They come from myths throughout time, throughout human history at least. But as far as modern vampire novels go, this predated Bram Stoker's Dracula by about 25 years. It was written in, I want to say, like 1850 something or 1860 something. In fact, I can just click this link and see exactly when it was written because that's the Wikipedia. 1872. Chapter 5. A Wonderful Likeness. Biggest problem with this is what it does to the lighting. Oh well. This evening, there arrived from Gratz the Grave, dark-faced son of the picture cleanser, with a horse and cart laden with 2 large packing cases, having many pictures in each. It was a journey of 10 leagues, and whenever a messenger arrived at the Schloss from our little capital of Gratz, we used to crowd about him in the hall to hear the news. This arrival created in our secluded quarters quite a sensation. The cases remained in the hall, and the messenger was taken charge. The cases remained in the hall, and the messenger was taken charge of by the servants till he had eaten his supper. Then, with assistants, and armed with hammer, ripping chisel, and turn screw, he met us in the hall, where we had assembled to witness the unpacking of the cases. Carmilla sat looking listlessly on, while one after the other the old pictures, nearly all portraits, which had undergone the process of renovation, were brought to light. My mother was of an old Hungarian family, and most of these pictures, which were about to be restored to their places, had come to us through her. My father had a list in his hand, from which he read as the artist rummaged out the corresponding numbers. I don't know that the pictures were very good, but they were undoubtedly very old, and some of them very curious also. They had, for the most part, the merit of being now seen by me, I may say, for the first time, for the smoke and dust of time had all but obliterated them. There is a picture that I have not seen yet, said my father. In one corner at the top of it is the name, as well as I could read, Marcia Karnstein, and the date 1698. I am curious to see how it has turned out. I remembered it. It was quite a small picture, about 1.5 feet high, and nearly square, without a frame, but it was so blackened by age I could not make it out. The artist now produced it with evident pride. It was quite beautiful. It was startling. It seemed to live. It was the effigy of Carmilla. Carmilla, dear, here is an absolute miracle. I'll punch my nippers. I will make it round and blunt if her ladyship pleases, no longer the tooth of a fish, but of a beautiful young lady as she is. Right? Is the young lady displeased? Have I been too bold? Have I offended her? The young lady, indeed, looked very angry as she drew back from the window. How dares that mountebank insult us so? Where's your father? I shall demand redress from him. My father would have had the wretch